Good evening, traders. Mark here. It's 7:26 p.m. in London, and unfortunately the world of crypto is getting slammed. Now, unfortunately for other investors as well, so is the stock market. In fact, gold's getting beaten up. Everything apart from the US dollar is getting beaten up at the minute. But did we forecast this? And yes, we did. If you go back to our videos and look for a title that says BTC 24K next stop, then you will see why we forecasted 24K. Now, I'm just going to pull it in the drawing tool and I'm going to highlight this gap over here in the futures market. So this is the futures, BTC 1 exclamation mark. This is not the spot market. This is the futures. The market gapped from here to here. So at some point this gap has to close, and it's just a market psychology. It's what happens in the marketplace as gaps get closed. It can be 6 months, it can be the next day, it can be whenever, but they get closed. And while we're in this bear market, it made an obvious statement that I think that this is an area that we're going to test to close the gap. But then the question comes in, where does it go when it gets there? How many people are going to have to get their accounts taken away from them? Which leveraged people are going to get sparked out the market? Well, we don't know that, but what we can say is the next real technical level where I think we could see a flush to is potentially this 2017 high back in December 2017, the 20K barrier. Now, we have closed the gap. It has been a horrible day for crypto, or a horrible year, so to speak. But we know this happens in the crypto space. We know they have retracements of 80 to 90% in the bear market conditions. But then that just unleashes the room and the move upside for huge potential gains. Doesn't mean I'm saying buy right now. It means I'm anticipated the next future move. So I'm waiting for certain conditions. 20,000 is a marker for me, unless we see something change where we are and we see buyers really start to step back in. I don't think it's a bad place if you're an investor to be scaling, if you've bought at higher prices, to be putting some of your powder back into the market. I don't think we're far away from the bottom, but you know, I'm talking from what I will be doing personally. It's not a remember, we don't give investment advice here. We're not advisors. We're talking purely technical and what we're going to look at and how we're going to take control of our own capital. If you're looking for advice, you're going to have to seek your own financial advice. Please be aware of that. But the charts do tell us a lot of information. So, things to look for. I'm just going to drop down to 4 hour. Now, you can see from the 4 hour, this was a trade we took and we posted in our groups. I think we took 3,770 points out of it, closed out at 25,000, so we did miss out on what's that, roughly about 2,000 points move lower. People go, well, if you forecasted it was going to go to 24, why didn't you have a target at 24? I have a very simple saying: I'd rather be the first man out than the last man trying to get out. You know, you can forecast 24, but why be greedy? If it gets to 25 and then goes to 24, so be it. Let someone else have the cream on the cake, the cherry on top. You know, I've made my profit. I'm happy with that. Now I'm looking for buyers. When I see buyers step back in, that's going to be my cue to start looking at the market. So I'm not selling it anymore where we are. I think we might see something like this and then potentially pop back down. You'll see there was a gap here on the futures market. Again, I expect this gap to be filled, but how I will look at doing this will be something along the lines of, if I see the market if it does do this, I then expect at this area you're going to have a big puke. The market's going to absolutely throw up, trying to get loads of people out of the market. And as soon as we come back above it, I'll be looking with buy stops, and then I'll be looking for the next sort of higher low from that point. And that'll be me done with, say, Bitcoin or Ethereum. Now, Ethereum, this has really been quite interesting because this moved quite a bit lower than I was forecasting. I didn't short it, but you know, unfortunately, I wish I did. You know, I was looking for it to come into the 17,000 barrier, and that was where I was going to start potentially looking for price to rotate and start pushing higher. You can see it's even broken the 2017 highs. So where do we see this bottoming out? And unfortunately, like all cryptos, you're going to have to wait for buyers to step in. The market is in a panic mode, and we have the FOMC on Wednesday, and it just means that people are really worried about what's happening. Regulation issues. Obviously we had the unfortunate lunar issues. There's always issues coming out with different cryptos, different coins, but they're here to stay. They're here to stay, in my opinion. And all this bear market is doing is giving us a fantastic opportunity to look for creating some fantastic wealth over the coming years. So where we currently lie right now, I do like around 1400, where we saw this previous move where we had the impulsive move up. Oh damn it, I pressed the wrong button, sorry. We had the impulsive move up through the 2017 high, and then we pulled back, we retested the 2017 high, and then we went again. So we've broken through it. Question is, will we come back to test it, push lower? And if we do, so be. But what I'll be looking for is that next push up and then the next test. And it'll be this buy here that I'm looking to get involved with. So I don't mind the fact that we're below it, and I don't mind that we're staying below. If we come back and test it and then move even lower, that doesn't bother me. But I'm probably going to use that 1400 as an area for really starting to add a little bit more meat on the bone to look for more investment. Because if we do trickle down anywhere into, whether it's the 750, the 1000, whatever it may be, when you're buying down here, you're literally just buying to average your price down if you've got a higher price. Other than that, you just say, right, well, I'm going to start putting 10, 15, 20% of what I'm looking to put into Ethereum at these prices. And I don't care if it goes lower, but I'll start adding properly when it goes back above a certain point, because that shows me that the appetite for buying the market is back in. FTM was down significantly at some point today, and then it's just found a little bit of a breath, but I'm looking for this to test 18 cents. So you'll see when it comes back. So there we go. I'm looking at 18 cents, well, just above 18 cents. You can see where the market tested back here. When was this? June 21, and then May, sorry, and then June 21 here, and then heading sort of late July, but it pierced it. So could we see something similar where we see this big sell-off, a little bit of a consolidation, test again, a little bit of consolidation, then we pierce the level, and then we make that move. So we've seen the market come down, we've had a little bit of consolidation, we're testing the level, we've probably come back up, maybe test it a bit more, and then will we pierce it and then make the skyrocket? So it's this piercing which I'm looking for on all markets that I'm interested in. The reason for this is market makers, the markets, whatever, trying to get rid of every leveraged position, weak holders that don't believe in it. And that's the way I look at the market. Every time I see these clear levels that get pierced, it tries to catch people on the wrong side or clear people out of the market, and then that's when you see these next big moves. Atom is just, well, it's just getting blown up. Sorry guys, forgive the pun, but you know, I was looking for price to potentially reject in and around the $9 area, and I said to everyone in previous videos, yes, I want to be buying at $9, but I need to see that Bitcoin and Ethereum are, we're seeing buyers there present, and we're not seeing that. So the question is, where can Atom go to now? And you know, you look at these markets and it's getting a little bit worrying as how low they can potentially go, especially for the current holders. I I don't care how low it goes. The lower it goes, I'm happier to some extent from a personal perspective. It just means that we can get a lot more bang for our buck. So could we see 4.6? If we see 4.6, the reason I'm saying that, there's this previous swing high here, and you can see how the markets came back to retest that same area. So I think I'll be looking at 4.66 now as an area to be looking to start buying blindly. In this instance, I'll happily put a buy limit now at 4.66. And you know, look, it comes back into this 9-10 zone here, and you've doubled your capital. You could take your initial investment out if you really wanted to, and it's barely even had to move. So I do like Atom at 4.66. I like FTM at 18 cents. FTM is now up on the day, 3.5%. So there's some appetite for buying right now. On that market. Another one, Solana. This is, I just can't believe where these markets are heading in terms of price. Yeah. It was funny. I was having a chat with one of my colleagues' friends a couple of weeks back, and he basically said, "Oh, I've bought Solana at 42," and I was like, to be fair, mate, I think it's going a bit lower. I'm forecasting 24k on Bitcoin, and if that happens, it's going to push the alt market even further. And he was like, I don't think it'll go any lower. You know, you look at it, that's basically, it was this big spike down. So I said, look, you're buying it for investment, so don't worry about it. 42 is a good price. But with Solana, I think you want to be looking around 21.5. Maybe 21.5, maybe 24. Anywhere in that zone is worth a buy limit in my account. So a couple of markets for you there to watch, and sorry guys, just dying here. It's a good way to finish the video. So I just wanted to keep it all basically around crypto right now. Tomorrow's video will look at some FX, and we'll look at some indexes as well. So whether it's the NASDAQ, S&P, or Dow Jones. If you've got any questions about videos we publish, please comment below. If you want us to actually analyze a chart and break it down from top to bottom, just message below, send us an email to mark@tradeandtrain.com or nolan@tradeandtrain.com, and we'll be happy to do that for you. Have a good evening, guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be posting our next video tomorrow somewhere between 7 and 10 p.m. Good night.